Hello everyone, welcome back to another reading, another video. In today's video, this is quite interesting because we're gonna get to know about what do they assume about your love life. And I kind of specified to kind of like lately specifically, but like in general, but with the focus that has been happening lately. What do they assume about your love life? We have 4 piles in front of us. We have the Ace of Earth, we have the second pile, the Empress, the third pile, the Seven of Fire, which is the Seven of Wands, and we have the Nine of Water by the pile number 4. And I want you to be very specific into which one actually calling, because again, this is about people's assumptions, so the noises could get very stuck up. And I'm just warning you that you don't want to take someone else's message. You want to make sure that this is about your pile. So choose your pile, look at the imagery we have in front of you, and feel one that's kind of more calling to you. But if you feel drawn to 2 or even more, that would mean a lot of people kind of talk about your love life. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's peel up the tea. Let's have some tea here. Alright, starting with you, the Ace of Earth. This is the Ace of Pentacles, so I'm gonna refer to it to the Ace of Pentacles, okay? We have very beautiful stacks in here. Let me read it to you. For the Kuan Yin, this is the Compassion card. It said, release judgment about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. And we have the Medicine Woman. It said that you are a channel for divine healing power. Ooh, something must have gone down in here. People's assumption again. This could be like quite far from what actually happening, but this is people's assumption. So when it comes to your love life, with this one, recent tea, I would say that lately people have been thinking and wondering whether your love life is either that entering a more stable pace, or perhaps involving someone who's bringing a real grounded energy into your life. So the Ace of Pentacles here, kind of gives a vibe of a very fresh and promising start. So people would assume that something or someone new or something a little bit more serious definitely taking place or kind of happening or about to happen to you here. But with the Compassion and Medicine Woman, the gossip isn't just that, oh my god, they're dating someone. It's more kind of like they're probably dealing with someone who needs emotional support or like healing right now. So I would say that people think what's going on behind the scenes, that people have been feeling lately that you've been softer, more understanding, or more patient with someone. And it shows. And also that you've been dealing with a person who's going through, could be like something emotional, or you're helping someone get their life together again. So the assumption is that they're talking to someone who's not 100% healed, but they see the potential in them, or that they're being really compassionate with this person with a very rough past, right? So I would say that the kind of situation people imagine in here, in people's mind, your current love life looks like either you're talking to someone who's been hurt before, or perhaps dating someone who's emotionally reserved, or perhaps dealing with a person who's trying to grow, change, and start over. And you're the one kind of listening to their problems and giving them advice and being patient with their moods and perhaps helping them feeling safe. So the gossip more kind of like sound like they're probably the one that like holding a connection or like together like emotionally, or that I feel like they're dealing with someone who needs them more than they would admit. So I would say with this card, people think like you're not only in a casual flirting or like a random talking period right now. I would say that they would assume that this connection or a relationship could turn into something very real in your romance and romantic life and love life. And this person perhaps in your life now has a very long-term potential to be there in your whole life, or you're trying to build something a lot more stable than before, but there is perhaps like a subtle a thought that attached to it that like it could be something serious, but only after that person maybe like heals a bit. So like the secret relationship, your current love life is like a new opportunity that comes with a lot of emotional responsibility. So yeah, that's what I see. And kind of even like there's a little hope in here that like whoever they're dealing with right now probably has feels very safe with the collective, with pile number 1, or perhaps even that they do believe that and hope that they're not doing all the healing work again, because you could have like maybe a little of the past where you could kind of attract a little wounded warrior to your side, and I would say people just kind of afraid you might get hurt again. But again, people always had a lot to say, you know? So I would say people imagine something like whether you're talking to someone who is sweet, but very emotionally complicated, or perhaps like have the trust issues, or perhaps just kind of got out of very difficult situations. So instead of running away, you're like, you know, it's okay, you know, take your time, and like I understand why you feel that way, and you can talk to me about it, you know. So from the outside, people think that like, oh, you know, they're probably the calm and understanding one in a relationship. And I would say people see you, you know, in a context of love, you know, kind of very emotionally mature, kind in the relationship, and perhaps someone who attracts people who need healing, like I mentioned before, a little bit of that wounded warrior energy, or someone who's like starting a lot more stable chapter in love life. And but they also kind of quietly think that you give a lot, you know, and they're hoping that you're getting the same energy back. So yeah, looks like a fresh start, but there's a lot of emotional heavy lifting in here. Let's take a look into the next spread. We're gonna get more tarot here, so we're gonna see a lot more context. Oh my, we have the Six of Cups immediately, Two of Wands, Page of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups. Are you getting back with your ex, collective? I'm just saying, or at least people, you know, what they have been assuming in here, you know? Because this part is all about like, I feel like there could be someone from the past, or like someone very sweet, and like they're trying to, like collective here, pile number one is you guys trying to figure it out, something, or where is it going, at least from their perspective, you know, their assumption here. So there's a lot of gentle and romantically and emotionally deep tone in here, and but perhaps also there's quite like an uncertainty about the direction itself. So the main assumption, let's get into it here, that people have right now with the Six of Cups, people think that there could be someone from the past involved in here. It could be the significant other, or just the whole situation involving this someone from the past, or that someone that feels very familiar, safe and soft with you, or perhaps a connection that feels very innocent, sweet and nostalgic. So, you know, I would say people have been just saying that, you know, I feel like they could be saying something like, I feel like they're talking to someone like, you know, they've known for a while, or just like someone who feels like a home to them. But then we have the Two of Wands here shows up, and suddenly the energy shifts into perhaps like a decision making and waiting to see where things go, and perhaps thinking about the future. So people would assume that, you know, the collective pile number one is in a stage where like, where is this actually going, you know? And the Page of Pentacles and Queen of Cups dynamic is quite telling here, because the Page of Pentacles is about someone who's offering small but a very genuine progress, you know. It's like a slow progress, and perhaps a person who's learning, growing, but not fully mature just yet, because they're still a page, right? And the Queen of Cups is all about deep emotion, nurturing, caring, intuitive love, and the emotionally mature one. So I would say, you know, they probably assume that your love life is that one person is very emotionally deep and caring, and the other one is perhaps still trying to figure things out. And let's be honest, in this section, I would think that they probably think you're the Queen of Cups one. And yeah, it's like they would think that it's sweet, the connection that you have, or your love life right now, but it's also kind of like slow, you know, like not fully defined perhaps. Like it's like one person is giving the queen energy, and the other person kind of like still in a like I'm trying pace. So I would say the storyline, you know, in people's head in here, your love life is looking like there is someone that you feel very comfortable with, and who might be from your past, or perhaps feels very familiar to you. The connection is sweet, it's not toxic or chaotic, but it's not fully defined, you know. There is perhaps some distance, hesitation, or planning involved, or that one of you thinking about the future a lot more seriously than the other. So the assumption perhaps like, oh my god, they care a lot about this person, but they're still waiting to see if these things and situation could actually go somewhere. So perhaps people would imagine a situation where you're talking to someone kind and genuine, maybe a bit younger, like in mindset, or just kind of slower, you know, emotionally, and perhaps still trying to figure out their career, feelings, and emotions. Meanwhile, you on the other hand is pretty much emotionally deep, know what you want, and feel things very strongly, you know, and perhaps caring, you know, towards them. And from the outset, people would think kind of like, oh my god, they're already emotionally in, but the other person is perhaps still building up to that level. So yeah, that's what we have here. It's like the love right now feels very sweet, emotional connection, but they're definitely the one with the deeper feelings, while the other person is still kind of like catching up. So I think that's what people been saying here. That's the reason T and people's assumption about your love life. That would be all for this prediction. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that resonates. But again, it's like assumption. Doesn't have to always, feel true. But again, assumption is assumption. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Have a very, very lovely day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye. Alright there, pile number 2. You chose the Empress card. And let me read it to you. We have the Golden Opportunity and Sacred Space. Such an interesting contrast we have here. On the Golden Opportunity, it said that important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. And on the Sacred Space, it said that to create altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. Interesting. So I would say immediately the vibe and what people assume about your life is either that is blooming, about to bloom, or perhaps like you're fully aware that you were the prize in here, because the Empress is not trying to be chosen. She has never been. She is the choice, so the assumption lately is that they know their worth, they're not settling, so like this is my boss girl, single lady, single man type of card. It's like this is like perhaps like the strong sense that something aligned, abundant, or perhaps something very real perhaps entering your life, or you're being very selective about who gets the access to you. Again, we're gonna get into the second spread here just in a moment to get very specific, but again, this is collective reading, so adjust to your situation. Okay, let's start with the Golden Opportunity. So they think what they think is happening is probably that there is someone very valuable around you, or that you've met someone with a very serious long-term potential, or that you're finally attracting higher quality options. So it's either between those options. So the gossip, or what people have been assuming, is that I feel like someone serious, like literally around them, or that they're about to secure the bag, secure something very, very incredibly good. Not toxic, not chaotic, not situationship. It's like something that's very much about upgrade, or like divine timing, or like this is it, or like the one situation, and the Sacred Space, the people kind of interesting. There's a part that people kind of quite get confused. That's why I said interesting a lot, in this file. So while people feel there is opportunity in your life, probably by reputation, they also sense that you're being incredibly private right now. The Sacred Space here gives perhaps the boundaries, and perhaps that you're protecting your energy, you're not oversharing, and you keep it very low-key. So people would assume that like, oh my god, like these people not telling us everything. It's like something is about to happen, but like they're being so quiet about it. So it kind of drives people crazy. And there's a quiet power about you lately. It's like you're not chasing, you're not explaining yourself, you're just glowing. There is something very glowing about you, and you're perhaps like minding your own business. And that makes people very more and pretty much more curious, because the Empress, let's be real, the Empress is like probably makes people think that you probably is either being pursued, or you have options, or that you're in your soft, attractive, abundant era, or perhaps you're radiating this wifey, husband, hubby energy, or like a long-term partner energy. So some people might even think that like, oh my god, they're like this person, this collective pile too is talking to someone like who wants something serious, or they actually in something very serious. And perhaps you're in this like I attract, I don't chase pace, or there's also a small layer of that. You look a lot more happier and confident as of lately, collective, even if you don't say anything. And I think that's the worst part of it. You don't say anything, so perhaps people imagine the situation in your life right now, either met someone who kind of checks all of your boxes, more than your boxes actually, or that you leveled up emotionally and are not entertaining nonsense right now, or perhaps you're being more intentional with who you give your attention to. So instead of being overly like available, you perhaps move very calmly, protecting your peace, letting people come to you, and observing instead of over giving. So from the outside, this collective is actually in a very good position when it comes to love right now. And then there's this quiet assumption also that I would say people don't say out loud because of that Golden Opportunity, Sacred Space together. So I would say that people think you might be manifesting something, or that something faded is pretty much unfolding behind the scene and it's killing people that they don't know about it, or that you're keeping a potential relationship private on purpose. Perhaps like there's this hint of like, oh my god, they're gonna surprise us, like there is a hard lunch in here, like there is something brewing under the sea. So just know that you're driving people mad right now. So right now people assume that one, you're in your glow up era romantically, something promising either actually arrive in place or is approaching, or that you're attracting better options, or that you're being extremely selective, or that you're not giving access to everyone that who wants to know. Like you're not giving everyone access, right? So like you're very impressed right now. Watch and see very abundant love life. They're not like you're not stressing when it comes to love, and like something good is forming, but you're being very quiet about it. So yeah, that's like I said, it's killing people. Let's take a look into more details here on the second spread. Okay, the second spread is very, very interesting. Wow. It's like we have the Ten of Wands, Ace of Swords, the Chariot, Page of Wands. You're glowing, but you've been at it. I think you've been through something, because the main storyline people think is that you were right, past tense. You were carrying a lot emotionally, I would say, not too long ago, or something very heavy or draining happened. Perhaps now you had a realization and decides to move quite differently, and it's not random. It feels very recent, you know? It's like they got tired. Something in you just kind of like shut down on something, like spiritually tired, or perhaps like emotionally tired. Like you're done overextending yourself. Probably explains why you don't being very loud about it, you know? Ten of Wands. This is what people assume you deal with. So perhaps you think that in the past something about your love life could be one-sided or stressful or emotionally exhausting, or just kind of you were doing too much. But because you're the Empress on a spread one, so perhaps the unspoken teen here assumption is that you were giving a lot more than you were getting, or something that's kind of like the dynamic is not exactly balanced. So lately people assuming that you've hit a point where like, I'm not gonna carry all of this by myself anymore. And with the Ace of Swords, I love that. This card is very sharp, clear, and cutting. This is people would think that you saw the truth about someone, or perhaps had an honest conversation about something to someone, or that finally admit something to yourself. So it's more kind of like you've had a wake-up call collective, and like something just clicked finally in you. Something just connected, you know? So perhaps this could be you realizing that someone wasn't meeting your level, or that someone wasn't consistent, or perhaps like you were settling for less than what you deserve, or you were settling for the wrong stuff, or that once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it anymore. And this is a Chariot energy. I love that. There is a certain comeback energy on you. The Chariot card is where people feel the shift, that they think you took control and you pulled back your energy and perhaps start focusing on yourself, or perhaps moved forward with a different strategy with more confidence. So it's more kind of the energy where like you're not stuck anymore and you finally bossed up, like emotionally. It's just kind of the moment where like they finally remember to have power, you know? So people like you're no longer in that confused space and you're moving with this direction right now. Ooh, this is very interesting. The Page of Wands, such a contrast. This is a new spark, perhaps. Like after the heaviness and the clarity, people might assume that there is new interest around you, or that you're flirting again, or that someone new is trying to get your attention. But it feels a lot lighter, or just like you have become like you deal with stuff a lot lighter than before. It's not heavy like before, you know? The Page of Wands is very curious, playful, excited, and like a fresh energy. So perhaps people think that this collective had dropped the stress, and now perhaps a new atmosphere is coming in, or someone new is coming in, something new is coming in, and you just seem a lot lighter as of recently, like you're about to open something new. So I would say that in their minds, your recent love timeline would look like you were overextending yourself, had a moment of clarity, and you decided to move quite differently, and now you're attracting new energy and exploring something fresh because you're the Empress overall. People think that you've learned your lesson and you're not going to settle with something like that again. So it's like you were dealing with someone who was inconsistent, needing too much from you, or perhaps like wasn't matching your effort. You finally had that internal conversation like, why the fuck am I carrying all of this thing by myself? And so you either said something directly or pulled back, or just mentally checked out. So now you're just either talking to someone new, exploring casually, or perhaps like enjoying the attention without the pressure. So I would say that you released a burden, and now the golden opportunity can actually enter. You're kind of like in your main character redemption arc. That's what people have been assuming about your love life, collective. That will be all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. Oh, pile three. You chose the seven of wands, seven of air. Sorry, seven of fire here. So I will refer to it to the seven of wands. Okay, we have a lot of things going on in here. I feel like the people are just watching you and low-key trying to figure you out. This is actually very tea. So yeah, sit back and get your drink, whatever drink that is. It's like it's giving like they're not playing anymore. Center pile, seven of wands. Seven of wands thinks that you're guarded, selective, defending your peace, and not entertaining nonsense. So there is the energy of this, like you're not as accessible as you used to be, or that you have proved yourself to them now. It's like you're not fighting for love, you're filtering it, and people can still feel it. And again, this is not going to be like 100% accurate with you for sure, because this is collective reading, so do adjust with your situation. Okay, let's just get into it. Pal spread one, we have the purification and bright future. This is very specific because I would say that people think recently you cleared out something, like you cleared someone out, you cut something off, and you detach from very messy situation, or that emotionally detox from it. So purification gives that they remove someone from their energy, not dramatically, more like quiet, decisive, final. Then the bright future show up. This is practically the glow up aftermath. So people would assume that you let something go because it doesn't align. You chose yourself, and now you're focused on better. So the gossip, or what people have been saying, sound kind of like you've ended something because you knew you deserve more, or that they're not settling anymore and they're waiting for something real. Tea. And then there is a strong sense that people feel that you've leveled up, like spiritually or emotionally here. So let's get into the next. We have the spread two in here, the Hierophant, Page of Cups, and Wheel of Fortune, and the Eight of Wands. This is very interesting because while you look guarded, people feel like also something faded is very brewing, because the Hierophant, this is about this serious shift, right? So people would assume that you're in the serious only era. This gives pretty much about the commitment mindset, traditional values, wanting something real, thinking long term, and perhaps like they're not trying to date just for fun anymore, like it's like if someone talking to them, it's because they see the potential. So I feel like you might be in your phase in life where also you reevaluate a lot of your values, and you reevaluate a lot of things that you used to know, or you kind of just have been thinking a lot about what is love in general, about it, where this could go, so perhaps you've been kind of way in perhaps between the consequences and action, consequences, reaction, all of those things that kind of making a point, so you're just in a place where you're being absolutely committed to yourself, and that perhaps reflect on your love life, on your romance life. And that's practically what I see. You're kind of in a better value. You see yourself as a more high value, and I think that also makes people start to also see you as a very high value people, and people can sense that, so that's why they've been assuming it here. And then we have the Page of Cups. This is the soft spot, because the plot twist is that even though you're guarded, people feel like there is something sweet around you, or that someone has a crush on you, or you're crushing on someone, or that someone is pretty much approaching you very gently. Because the Page of Cups is soft, shy and emotional. So people would assume that like someone is catching feelings, or that perhaps there is this soft romantic energy around you. So you might look guarded on the outside, but people feel like someone is trying to melt that, or that perhaps you were in a chapter in your life where you feel the spark again. You feel like perhaps after letting go and cutting off that burden, you're kind of like realizing that there is actually a lot of there's a lot of room for yourself to experiment. There's a lot of room for yourself to be sweet again, and perhaps to gain that sense of independence. Not independence, like that sense of flirtiness and just kind of fooling around. Like not everything has to be like that serious all the time. Because of that cutoff, you kind of like something inside you that's very creative and very sweet kind of just like wake up again, perhaps like resurrected from the death, So there is that energy. We have the Wheel of Fortune. This is the destiny card. This is big because people would assume that something unexpected happened or is about to happen. So perhaps it's about a sudden message, a random reconnection, or perhaps like a new person appearing out of nowhere, or perhaps a shift in the timing, So I would say people have been just kind of like, oh my god, I feel like something changed fast, or that the love life took a turn in here for this collective, or that there is a sense of like fate or divine timing around you lately. It's like you move with a purpose, There's something about your flow that's like it feels not accidental, It feels like it's very planned, or that every single step that you took right now, it feels like there is kind of like a lot more impact than you would admit it to be, or you would realize it, as if something that you do is guarded, and perhaps is being shown, like you're being shown by the universe that like this path is where you should go. So something very destined and fated kind of like brewing, on the surface, on the background here. And we have the 8 of Wands. This is about like things are moving, perhaps like it's not shallow. People can feel like, communication increase and someone is pursuing, and like perhaps there are a lot of messages, or that something is picking up speed. So it's not a stagnant energy, because the full assumption is pretty much that you cleared someone out, got guarded, and focused on your future. And suddenly, because you do that, things are moving to your life, things are moving for you. So yeah, it's like you were quiet for a bit, but now something is speeding up. So people would imagine that like you were dealing with someone very inconsistent or draining. You've had enough, and you pulled back. You pulled the energy back, and you stopped explaining yourself, stopped overgiving, and stopped chasing clarity. And now someone is texting more, you are texting more. Someone is trying harder, you're trying harder, or that someone new is coming with serious intention. Perhaps you, however, on the other hand, you're watching, evaluating, and not folding very easily. So people would see you as someone who's very strong right now, and kind of a bit protective of your heart, which is understandable, done with a lot of casual energy, and perhaps entering a lot more serious chapter in your life. So they low-key kind of like, oh my god, something aligned is happening with them, like something massive here is happening with collective, something massive is happening with Palo 3. And yeah, so there is a lot of this like, I survived this lesson, now I'm ready for a blessing type of energy. Love seeing that. Good for you, actually, able to stand up for yourself and etc. But yeah, that would be all for this prediction. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye. Alright there, pile number 4, you chose the 9 of Water. I will be referring it to the 9 of Cups. We have the endings and beginnings and infinite supply. I love that. So the main energy here, the main assumption people had, because the 9 of Cups is the wish fulfilling card, it's about emotional satisfaction, contentment, and perhaps like getting what you want. So people currently assume that you're emotionally okay, and you're not as desperate for love, and you might be even enjoying your single era, like a boss girl era could be, or that you're living like quietly happy with someone. Like you're not looking stressed out like at all, I feel like, about love. And I think that makes people very, very curious. So endings and beginning, Kali, this is what they think just happened, I think, because this card tells people something has ended, but it wasn't tragedy. It's more kind of like a natural transaction. It should happen, It looked like people have been saying that you closed the chapter, and it was actually for the better. So people assume that you recently let go of someone, finished a situationship, or emotionally detached from something that wasn't fulfilling. But unlike the other piles, it doesn't feel heavy, or dramatic. It's like it's completely done anyway. You're like already having a closure with it. It's like, it's very calm, very demure, mindful, and mature. And we have the infinite supply. Ooh, very max aura here. This is the abundance aura, because this is where people start making assumptions. They feel like you have options, and perhaps you're attracting a lot of attention coming your way, or that you're just in a very good abundant pace in your life. So the gossip perhaps, or what people have been saying, is that you're not worried about love because opportunities will come, or perhaps that you don't seem attached just like to just one person, or that you can do better if you want to. So perhaps there's a lot of quiet confidence in your love life. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's very secure. So I would say that people would assume that you're emotionally fulfilled right now, completely just like genuinely okay with your love life and perhaps at peace with where you at and open to new beginnings, like whatever the future has to offer. But it's like it's without fear. There is a sense of that you're not holding on to the past anymore, and people feel like you let something go and immediately stepped into a lot more abundant and peaceful space of your life. So yeah, you seem quite content, and perhaps people have been thinking that you're not stressing anymore, and you probably have options, and you don't like actually even talk about it. And perhaps you ended something, but like honestly, you're a lot happier right now. So perhaps everything that happened to you as of recently kind of for the better. It's like wicked for good type of energy here. So it's pretty much that you were, yeah, dealing with someone that was okay but not amazing, or the connection just kind of ran its course, or you simply just outgrew the whole thing. So instead of clinging to it, you let it end peacefully, and you focused on yourself, and you start enjoying your life again. So now you're like going out more, laughing more, and perhaps like less emotionally heavy, and not obsessing over someone, and people noticed about it. So I would say people think that you're in a very good place, like emotionally right now. So yeah, love seeing that in here. Let's take a look into the next spread. Oh my. Okay, we have the ooh, it's like spread two is very tea, like they're giving all the things that we need to have here. We had the five of wands, strength, the king of cups, and the three of swords. You went through something emotional, but like you're handling it with a very surprising strength, because I would say the main assumption here, as we have on the cards, it feels like there was a conflict, or like a mental emotional tension, or perhaps like some kind of like a love triangle, or perhaps a misunderstanding or emotionalness, and we have the five of wands. This gives the energy perhaps of competing energies, arguments, and emotional confusions, and perhaps too many options or people involved. So the gossip here, or what people say, have been kind of start that like your love life, like was a mess, as of like recently, as of like in the past year, but not necessarily in a dramatic or loud way, but just like definitely emotionally complicated. And the three of swords is perhaps the heartbreak that everybody sends. This is the card that like they definitely got hurt. You are breaking your heartbroken on those pages. So people would assume that you've experienced the disappointment, or that someone broke your heart, or something didn't exactly go the way you hoped it to be. So it might not even be obvious on the outside, but energetically people feel like you went through something emotional, or that a kind of situation where people imagine that a connection didn't work out, or that something choosing someone else, or perhaps a betrayal, or just kind of a painful realization. Three of swords could come in many different ways, right? So strength is perhaps how people see you handling it, because the interesting part of it is that people don't see you as bitter, dramatic, or perhaps emotionally out of control. People see strength in here. So the assumption is that you've handled it very maturely, or that you didn't crash out like most people would here. So strength pretty much gives emotional control, grace under pressure, and quiet resilience, inner healing. So even if you were hurt, people feel like you kept your dignity, and you didn't beg, and you didn't cause a scene. You just kind of endured it, So with the king of cups here, this is the emotional maturity, adds another layer. So people would assume that you embody the king of cups energy, very calm, emotionally stable, mature, or perhaps there was a very deep emotional person involved, and someone you had real feelings for, but it's like the connection was actually deep. It wasn't like a surface level, and perhaps they were actually care in a relationship, and combined with strength, even if they still care, deeply, even if they care deeply, like perhaps you still handled it with emotional maturity. So I would say that maybe you were involved with someone who you had real feelings for, that something real happening in there. It wasn't casual, and there was perhaps like an emotional depth in there. But then there was misunderstanding, and perhaps like competing priorities, or that another person involved, or perhaps like the situation just become stressful. Remember, at the very beginning, we had like perhaps a lot of contentment, and that sometimes things are just running its course, and all of the situation and misunderstanding just kind of a way for that relationship to reach the finish line. So perhaps like something eventually broke your heart. Like by the end of the day, something like you got heartbroken over it. So instead of begging, fighting, or perhaps spiraling publicly, you kind of like pulled yourself back together, stay calm, kept your dignity, and perhaps focus on your emotional control. So from the outside, people think kind of like they kind of went through it, but they're strong, and people kind of applauding you for doing that, because some people would let that cycle happening again and again and again. Some people make a mess out of it. You just kind of pull back. It's wise. It's very mature. So it's perhaps like people would think that you face a lot of emotional conflict and you experience heartbreak, but you handled it with a lot of strength and maturity. And I think that's why you look very calm right now. So yeah, it's pretty much like you definitely got hurt, but like the way you handled it, very mature. And now you seem a lot more at peace with your love life. There's quiet strength, emotional growth, and wish fulfillment after a heartbreak energy. I love that. I think that's where also do we have like a wheel of fortune? Let's see. Oh yeah, that's where this strength energy come from. Like, at the end of the day, you're like you take on the weight that you want and can take on the weight. Like I said, sometimes things are just running its course, and there's nothing that you can do about it other than to let it pass and let it go. But yeah, that would be all for this prediction. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Have a very lovely day, and yeah, all the best. Bye bye.